Okay, so it says I've been streaming for about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds now. Still says 0 people viewing, even though I knew at least one person is viewing because I'm viewing. So let's wait and see. There we go. We're up. We're live. It still says nobody's viewing, but I know one person is viewing because I'm viewing. There we go. Now it says one person viewing. All right. So what do I got to open up for you today? I got something really cool. Check that out. Masters of the Universe. Does not say what it is, though, but you can tell it's from the movie. It's got that image of the power sword from the movie. I'm guessing this is something from the style guide for the movie. And it looks very similar to the drawing that Errol McCarthy did for the style guide back in the old days. Al Davis is here and says hello. Hello right back at you. Good to see you. So this is the Masters of the Universe He-Man and Sky Sled pack. Let's see if you can read that little fine print there. And it's got that in 4 different languages. English being the first one. Of course, this is the language I speak. Pack de He-Man e Sky Sled de Masters of the Universe. With some other languages there. So I think that's Spanish, French, and I don't know what the last one would be. Maybe like Italian or something. I don't know. German. One of these maybe German. So somebody out there in the comments who's a bit more intelligent as far as languages go, a little bit more learned as far as languages go. If Captain Have Fun was here, he would know. Contents: 1 figure, 1 vehicle. Assembly required. You put the Sky Sled together. And let's see, big old barcode here. Let's see, it's got like a little fine print of English here, and then these are like other languages up here. So that's what this side looks like. It looks kind of like a mailer box, but they didn't mail it to me this way. They put it in a little bag. But it is these Amazon packages are kind of funny because like for this line, because like the outside of them all plain and mailer box looking, but you open it up and oh, look at that, a very cool image of He-Man on the Sky Sled. Boy, that takes me back to like the old days and the original Battle Ram package and how it had that picture of of He-Man zooming off and on the Sky Sled. What did I say? I got Batman on the brain. We should open up some more Batman figures soon. I got some more Batman stuff to open up, I'm pretty sure. But yeah. So and then the Mattel, the new Mattel stuff for DC is starting to hit Target from what I hear. So I'm keeping an eye out for that. So I'll have some of that to open up as soon as possible. I am going to go see the Masters of the Universe movie on Thursday. So there absolutely will not be a show on Thursday. I'll be busy watching the movie. I'll have very little time during the day, and most of that's going to be spent watching that movie. So, I am good, Al Davis. I hope you're doing good as well. So yeah, I'll be watching that on Thursday, which means I'll probably do an episode tomorrow. And if I do an episode tomorrow, I'm going to open up the Masters Universe Chronicles Trapjaw figure. And then my post-movie figure, I've decided, is going to be Battle Cat. Because I want to have something really cool. Both of those are cool, but Battle Cat just seems like a little more impressive. It's a bigger box and everything, bigger figure. And you know, I want to talk about the movie some. So that'll be my figure to talk about the movie some. I don't know how spoilery I'll get. We'll see what I'm feeling like. Anyway, so yeah, you get this nice piece of artwork. It almost looks to me like kind of like the figure itself, but they kind of photoshopped it. You know how like they do sometimes. Photoshopped it to look a little more like a painting or something like that. But I think it is an actual figure. But I don't think it's the same. They changed up his hair, so it looks a little more windswept. Obviously, because he's on a Sky Sled. Maybe it would have been a cool thing for them to to make that as the actual sculpt on the figure. In hindsight, that's something that occurs to me. Again, I'm just kind of damn it, I dropped my snips. I'm just kind of armchair quarterbacking it at this point. But let's go ahead and get him out of the package. And of course, he's got the infamous rubber tabs holding all of this stuff in. So let's go ahead and cut all of those, get all those loose. Some assembly required. So that takes us back, doesn't it? So I think I got all the rubber tabs holding everything in. All right. Let's see if I'm right. So first of all, let's get out the accessories from this set, which of course we have. Since we got He-Man, we got to have the power sword, right? Every He-Man figure should come with that. And then we got some missiles. There are 3 missiles. And the power sword, I'm pretty sure this is the same power sword that the Kids Core the other Kids Core figures come with. Looks pretty similar to that. And I do have the this is the single carded one over here, so we can compare. And yeah, it looks the power sword looks pretty identical to me. The figure is going to be a little different. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, check out this custom I'm working on. He's almost done. I need to work on his belt a little bit. I'll probably put up a short about this when I finish it. But there is the New Adventures He-Man figure that I'm working on. Now, you guys know I'm not like a huge fan of the New Adventures of He-Man, and that really hasn't changed. But that doesn't mean it's not part of the character's history and legacy, and, you know, doesn't mean I didn't want an action figure of it. So... So there's the New Adventures He-Man I'm working on. Basically, I just got to do his belt. You can see the lower half of him is bow. So he's probably still just got the bow belt on there. And honestly, I probably could just leave the belt like that and be like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. It's a fairly plain belt. But I'm going to print out a belt buckle for him and repaint. I'm going to repaint the rest of the belt to be red to match the red straps. That's toy accurate, not cartoon accurate. I don't know. I don't remember what color his belt was on the cartoon, but on the cartoon he had brown boots and he had a brown bandolier. But I definitely wanted to have the version 1 type New Adventures armor. This is kind of based on the classics version, what this guy designed, and I think he did a good job with it. But unfortunately, I messed up while I was putting it together, and it got kind of broken, so I kind of had to glue it together. But it still works. Al Davis says, you don't keep the rubber tabs to give all your figures the same exact black ninja headband denoting what dojo they belong to. Dojo Belk. Well, they're not black. They're just like kind of like little clear rubber tabs. They're not anything. They're annoying. That's what they are. But I could, you know, go in black ninja headbands if I wanted to. I mean, just kind of, you know, maybe use some like electrical tape or something like that. All right, so let's see. It's got these stirrups for He-Man's feet to fit into, and they are fairly well embedded in this plastic packaging, so I took those out. And then last but not least, we have He-Man himself on the actual Sky Sled, the main part of this toy. And there it is, out of the package. And if I'd have thought about it, I'd have brought one of the other Sky Sleds over here to look at, like the Origins Sky Sled or the even the original Sky Sled. I do have the original Sky Sled, and we can have compared. But unfortunately, I didn't think about that. But you know, we can still talk about some of the differences and you know changes that they made. It should be fairly easy. So here's our He-Man figure out of the package. And if you saw my episode where I unboxed the Amazon 4-pack and the single-carded core figures, he should look fairly familiar to you. Donnie Mullins is here and says, damn, you dude, He-Man. Yeah, it is He-Man, and he's awesome. So this is a good figure. I already know because I already opened up this figure twice already in 2 different other formats. Just kind of slightly different paint jobs on these guys. And you can see like it's very slightly different on these two. And the main difference that I can see, like the brown even looks the same. The hair is like a slightly different color. Can you see that? Like the single carded one is just ever so slightly different from the Amazon figure. And then the 4-pack had a different hair color from either one of these, I think. But it's just a little bit lighter and a little bit less orangey on the Sky Sled figure. But the main difference we can see is the silver on the breastplate rather than the pure silver that the single carded figure has. This one has a slightly blue sort of cast to it. And like when I saw the pics, I thought it was going to be like a even more bluish shade of silver than this, but this is still like a very silvery sort of color. It's definitely more silver than blue. It kind of makes me wonder why they even bothered to do a different shade of paint. Like maybe they should have just done it as like a metallic blue or something like that. Or here's what I would have done that would have been different, since this is an Amazon exclusive. Make it something a little special. Paint them up to look like the old school He-Man figure. Give them the orange bracers and an orange belt and gray for the harness instead of brown, and do an old school He-Man figure. That would have been a cool thing to see. Like what in Transformers parlance they would say a G1 repaint. Like a lot of the times when I was collecting the Transformers for the first movie, the first Michael Bay movie, that they had that they would do figures in the G1 color scheme, and I liked getting those, like the Jazz and the red, white, and blue, and Ratchet, where he was painted up to like a white ambulance instead of like a kind of that greenish color. So it looks like there's a couple of different spots here where we could put these stirrups, and I can't really tell what the best place to put them in. And it does have this landing gear, but unfortunately this landing gear seems to be permanently attached on here and not removable, and doesn't collapse back up into the vehicle, which I think would be ideal, is if somehow these could retract back into the vehicle. But that does not seem to be the case. It's just kind of stuck on there. So let me look at the instructions. And I think that how this is set up is that you can put these stirrups in either one of these holes, because there's like a ball and socket kind of hole. And I think that it's designed that you can put them in either one of those you want to. And it probably depends on what figure you want to have you want to have in there as to where you want to have these stirrups. So, okay, looking at the instructions, this is kind of a funny thing. Is it looks like to me where it's telling you to put them is the rearmost socket, but on the actual illustration of the toy, it looks like it's on the frontmost socket. And that's a strange thing to me. I don't know why. There's the inconsistency there. And it doesn't say anything about which socket you should or shouldn't put it in. But the sockets to me look kind of identical. You know what I mean? Like they go in either one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in this rearmost socket. And we'll just see how that works. And then it's kind of bumping into the landing gear a little bit, which then is another reason that I kind of wish that these had been removable or retractable or something like that. But yeah, we'll put the stirrups into the rearmost sockets and see how that works for us. All right, so that should be that my sum assembly required has been assembled, and it looks like this portion of the Sky Sled does kind of lift up there. So that's nice. But he does have like a little bit of a gun. Okay, so that articulates up. Okay, so there's a little bit of a gun here, and then there's the big cannon down here. And it does look very reminiscent of that original toy. It's got Dayton, Ohio. I'm kid toy good. All right, excellent, says Donnie Mullins. He says Dayton, Ohio. All right. Well, hello to Dayton, Ohio. So, and then there's some little console there. There's no paint detail or decals or anything, but you can see there's some gauges that our hero can look at while he's piloting this thing. You go back and look at the instructions again. So there's just like, there's an illustration of all the stuff that comes with it. And it says, pull up the windshield to fully reveal the blaster. And then you can load missiles into launcher and storage slots and press button to fire, which I'm not going to be pressing any button to fire any of these because I don't want to lose any of these missiles. I just want to have the whole thing assembled is what I'm going to do. But yeah, like it says to lift it to reveal the blaster, but it doesn't really seem to do much revealing. It's already sticking out there, but you can kind of lift it up and have it pointing forward like that while he's flying the. Oh, these do come off. Okay, that's good. So that way it can be a little more. They seem like they were on there very firmly, but they do come off. Okay, I got them off. I got them off, everybody. So this is what the Sky Sled looks like when he's got the landing gear retracted. It'd be nicer if it could actually retract into the vehicle. I think that would be a lot cooler. But you know, I guess they can only do so much. Whatever. But yeah, so you can take those things off. And I'm probably gonna leave them on because I'm gonna have this thing sitting on my shelf, so it'll look best that way. But let's get He-Man onto the vehicle. Before we do that, though, let's real quick go over the articulation. It's a bit skidoo with the camera landing gear. It's little skid things. That's what they are. You know, like I could probably get an extra one of these and paint it up green for my G.I. Joe classified Zartan figure. You know what I mean? For to do the chameleon. Al Davis says, I don't know where camera came from. I don't know either, man. Are you typing on your phone? Or are you doing voice to text? So it might have just been one of those things where it just you tried to type something and autocorrect decided, like you tried to type maybe came or something like that, like it goes, oh, you mean camera? No, I mean came. I didn't go to the store and my mom camera along like this. Thumbs on phone. Yeah, I'm all thumbs on the phone. I know how that is. So let's talk about his articulation real quick. He-Man can't look up that far. That's the best part. He's got that long hair. It gets in the way. He can look down about that far. Not really that far down either. Tilt his head kind of goes side to side. Rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders. He-Man's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow. Bends about that far. Rotates all the way around. He-Man has a wrist articulation that rotates all the way around and has a horizontal hinge that moves back and forth like so. It's a little, no, wait, he's got a horizontal, I forget, he actually got a vertical hinge on his, I forgot that they did that. He has got a vertical hinge on his right hand. So he can hold aloft his magic sword. So that's cool. And he actually comes with a magic sword, unlike Prince Adam. So He-Man can rotate all the way around at the, can he rotate all the way around to the waist? It doesn't, he seems kind of stuck. Well, this gladiator kilt can come off. So let's take it off and have a closer look. All right, so it looks to me like He-Man does indeed have the same body underneath as the others, where he's got the top half is molded in a flesh color for his bare chest, and the lower half is molded in a brown plastic for the classic shorts. But these are fused on there really good. They're like solid. They are not. He does not want to rotate at the waist. So I don't know if mine is just stuck this way or if they glued it this way on purpose. But there's no waist articulation on this guy from what I can tell. Let's see if I'm gonna try one thing. I'm gonna try to maybe if I can get the X-Acto knife in there and kind of wedge it loose if it's just kind of stuck. But it seems pretty tight. I can't even really fit the X-Acto knife in there. Oh well. So he might just not have waist articulation. That might be a strange thing. Bobby Wald said, I saw they have a vehicle that looks like a dragonfly. Did you get that? I think that's called the Fright Fighter. And no, I don't have that. But I did see that they had it at Target. Now, the funny thing is that they've done 2 vehicles for this core line so far. Because they've done the Sky Sled, which I'm opening up right now. And they did Roton. And you know I love Roton. So you know I want to open up Roton. But the Fright, I never had the original Fright Fighter. That came kind of later in the line, in the original line. So I never had that one. I don't have that kind of nostalgic attachment to it that I certainly have for Roton. So so I'm definitely gonna get Roton. I may or may not get the Fright Fighter. I haven't really decided yet. But I do kind of want to support vehicles in the line. So you know, that's enough reason for me to want to get the Fright Fighter right there. But the Fright Fighter is not made for the Origin for the kids core line though. It's made for Origins figures. So why is it specifically an Origins vehicle? I can only speculate, but I think that with this one, it's, you know, kind of this, you know, like what Scott Knightlick said of the original Sky Sled. It's basically a flying jet ski. You know, it's something you set a figure on rather than in. And don't worry, I do have the Origins He-Man over here. So we're going to see how he fits on this too, by the way, in case I haven't mentioned that. And Roton, also that version of Roton is almost more like a motorcycle as far as where the figure sits. So you sit the figure on it like it's a motorcycle, and then they ride it that way. But the Fright Fighter is almost more shaped like a helicopter. It's got wings on it rather than a propeller, but it's more shaped like a helicopter in terms of like the cockpit and everything. So you put the figure in to the cockpit. So what I suspect is they wanted you to be able to have Origins figures fit into these vehicles. So I'm thinking He-Man, Origins He-Man is going to go on this just fine. That's my suspicion. We're going to find out. But the Fright Fighter, they had to make the cockpit a bit bigger if it's going to fit the Origins figure into it. So they're specifically selling that as an Origins vehicle so that Origins collectors know, hey, you can put your figures in this. Whereas this one is just kind of like, I look at it and I can see it, or the Roton, you know, you can see that in the store and be like, because it's in that package where it's like open and you can actually look at the toy and you can look at them. You know, I think Origins might fit on that, which is what I'm thinking they might. And I had seen where people have fit Origins figures onto Roton, but I've not seen people fit Origins figures onto this yet. But we're gonna try that out. Anyway, I got distracted by the whole not being able to turn his waist thing, so let's move on. He-Man can kick up about that far. He can do the splits no problem. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee, bends about that far, rotates all the way around, and there's no articulation from the knee on down. There's no boot cut. There's no ankle articulation. Nothing. That's what you see is what you get. And you know, this is if it was the single carded figure I have over here, that cost me $10. So if ankle articulation is the sacrifice that I need to make for this figure to be $10, it's a sacrifice I personally don't mind making. So let's see if we can get He-Man onto this Sky Sled, and if I chose wisely as far as where I put these stirrups. But you know, if you want to move them forward, you can move them forward. I'm guessing maybe that's for shorter figures. Like maybe Tila, it might work better if you had this stirrups forward, since you know she's a girl. I don't know how that works. But and then you got the handlebars here, and He-Man's hands should fit around these handlebars, and they do fit nice and snugly around the handlebars. And there is He-Man on the Sky Sled, flying blind on a rocket cycle. Well, that's a completely different movie, but yeah, it looks really cool. So we got these missiles too. So let's go ahead and get these missiles. These are the storage for the missiles over here. And even though they're just kind of simple C clamps, I think you're supposed to kind of just fit the missiles in there. The actual missile itself is kind of a little too narrow to fit in there properly. So you want to make sure that you have those the ridges on the side facing up and down vertically like that. And then that should give it enough tension to hold these missiles in place. And I'm going to push them all the way back like so. That's it. Isn't, I don't think it really says in the instructions how to do that, but that's how I'm going to do it. Yeah, in the picture there, it's got them kind of like kind of halfway, but I'm going to push them all the way back. I think that looks better. And but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then the missile fits into the launcher right there. We don't have the Griffin head like the original Battle Ram had, unfortunately. But he does have a missile launcher, so that's kind of cool. Shout out to one of my favorite websites, probably my most favorite website as far as He-Man goes, which is the Battle Ram blog. Because I know that dude is just as big a fan of the Battle Ram as I am. He named his website after it, obviously. And if you've never been to that website, let me tell you something. If you're into the history of the development of these figures and the deep lore, that's where you want to go. Al Davis says, He-Man's alive? Can you imagine Brian Blessed playing Stratos? You know, when we opened up the Stratos figure the other day and we were talking about Sean Connery and how Stratos in the cartoon sounded like Sean Connery. Nah, man, he should have sounded like Brian Blessed. That's who Stratos should have sounded like. If I ever make a He-Man cartoon, I'm going to try to get Brian Blessed to play Stratos. That's what I'm going to do. He's getting kind of up there in age, but I think he could still voice the character. I think he could still pull it off. He's still got that kind of boisterous, even at his old age, he's still got that kind of boisterous sort of. See, Al Davis agrees with me. So there's you can see there's some paint detail on the side here. It's like it's almost that kind of bluish silver. So I guess He-Man wanted to match his vehicle. But these panels here, it's like a kind of different shade of blue. It's a little more of a silvery sort of blue. And it does seem like it matches up with the bluish silver that's on He-Man's breastplate. So I guess that's why they chose this color. But I would have gone even further. I would have had just He-Man's breastplate just match the main body of the Sky Sled. I would have gone full on blue. You know, if you're going to do something different, do something different. Or like I said, do the vintage recolor, which, you know, Mattel, if you want to make some money, if you want to have an action figure to sell, you can do that. And we can put He-Man's Sword of Power, of course, in the little sheath in the back there for when he's flying the Sky Sled, because he's got to have his sword with him, right? So, and he does look really cool on this thing. I really like it. So let's move on, shall we? Because there's one other thing that I want to do before I wrap up this review. And that is, like we already talked about, like I already said, I want to put that Origins figure on the Sky Sled and see how well he looks on it. And I'm thinking he's probably going to fit on it fairly well. But, damn, I dropped the sword. It just fell right out of the sheath. So, guess I didn't have it in there as snugly as I thought. It's fine now. But these feet pegs seem kind of tight, so I did get those off. All right. So, Origins He-Man. He's a bigger, beefier dude. A little more old school, a little more how us 80s kids. This is our He-Man. He's like a a big buff dude. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people who criticizes Nicholas Galitzine on his build and says, "Oh, he's too small to play He-Man." Whatever. I don't really care about that. I think he's fine. He's fine. It's fine. It's a live action movie, folks. You're not gonna find a dude this big. It's just not gonna happen. So with these figures, I think they were going for a more natural sort of look, and they wanted him to be movie accurate, and they wanted him to have the build more closer to what he has. It's still a little exaggerated because it is an action figure, but he does have a build that's a little more sort of naturalistic on these kids core figures. Might as well leave the sword in there for now. But this is supposed to be more of a vintage style toy, and even the paint scheme of it is more simplified and everything. But he's that bit. This is the He-Man I grew up with, as far as he's got a Nicholas Galitzine head, and he's got the movie costume, but he's definitely got the build. Like remember, that was one of the things I did not like about the New Adventures line, was I felt like, He-Man was too puny, and that, well, this is what He-Man should have looked like in New Adventures. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Al Davis says it's quite unique for a vehicle and figure, like sort of standing pose is very jet ski, so it's nicely different from bikes and derivatives and other flying vehicles too. Yeah, like the rocket cycle in Flash Gordon. I don't know if that was one of the influences on that. So something I noticed is, because He-Man is a little more squat in terms of proportions in the Origins version. Hey, look at that. I can't quite reach those stirrups all the way back there. Huh. It's almost as if, like I was saying earlier, they had intended for you to move these stirrups if you wanted to fit a figure on there that had some shorter legs. So we can take those off and move those forward. And this other socket that's there, this is they don't say anything about this in the instructions. They don't say, hey, if you got an Origins figure, this is how you fit them on the Sky Sled. We just got to figure these things out on our own. We got to be smart. We got to use this piece of cauliflower that God gave us between our ears and figure that out. So let's now He-Man's feet are fitting in these stirrups just fine. Look at that. We got our Origins figure. So this is, even though it's made for the Kids Core line, like I said, even though it's made for the Kids Core line specifically, they want you to be able to use the Origins figures with it. They are looking after us people who've been collecting this line, this Origins He-Man line, since 2020, for 6 years now. They are looking out for their collectors. And I figured this would be the case, is that his hands would fit perfectly on here. Because like I said, he can hold the Origins figures can hold the Kids Core weapons just fine, and vice versa. So those hands are made to hold the same size weapons from the Kids Core line versus the Origins line. And sure enough, you can fit your Origins He-Man figures on here perfectly. So, and of course I used the movie Origins He-Man, but you don't have to use the movie version, obviously. I could put New Adventures He-Man on my custom New Adventures He-Man. I could fit him onto this thing just fine. And he'd probably look really cool on it, actually. So let's go ahead and try that, just for fun, since we happen to have that over here. And get old Nick off of here. Set him aside. And pull the swords. So any of you wondering why why my New Adventures figure has two different swords? It's because I had two different versions of a New Adventures sword to print. There was this one, which is based on the one with the original figure. That one actually came with this armor when I purchased the file to print. So I went ahead and I shrunk it down a little bit because I felt like it was a little too long for an Origins figure. It was looked more designed for a Masterverse size figure, and indeed on Cult 3D, when the guy had it modeled on a figure to show what the armor looked like when it was assembled, he used a Masterverse figure, and I used an Origins figure, obviously, but again, set that in the back there. But this other one is one I bought a while back, and this is based on a sword that came with a later New Adventures He-Man figure. I forget the name of these, but it was the last New Adventures figure they did where he actually was this size, where they finally figured out, oh, kids want He-Man to be big and muscular. We should probably make him big and muscular. Too little, too late. But I did like the design of this version of the Power Sword. I did think this was very cool. And I also printed out, do I have those around here anywhere? Yeah, here they are. I did also print them out just in the gold filament, just to see what they look like. Remember on the New Adventures cartoon, this was portrayed as just being a regular metal sword. It was more kind of silver than gold, but whatever. I just wanted to see what it looked like. So, and they did give him weapon storage in the back. This is a nicely designed piece. Like I said, when I went to print it out, I accidentally broke it, but that wasn't like a design flaw with the model. That was my own. Like I just kind of accidentally broke it. That was my own fault. So his feet are too big to fit in these stirrups. He's got bigger feet than the regular He-Man figure. But I'm just going to kind of wedge him in there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him on the feet pegs, but I mean, he seems like he's on there well enough just from like having the actual feet just kind of wedged in there like that. And I believe Bo just has kind of like the standard, like the same feet that Beastman has. So, oops. Kind of meant for that. Did not mean for that to go down like that. Put that back in its proper position. And then we fit He-Man's hands onto the handlebars. Come on. You can fit on these handlebars. I just had your bro on there, and he fit just fine. So yeah, New Adventures He-Man looks really good on this. This almost looks like it could be a New Adventures version of the Battle Ram, doesn't it? Like a little more sci-fi without the Griffin head on there. You see what I'm talking? He looks really cool on it. So that actually works. So yes, you can indeed fit your Origins figures onto this Kids Core Battle Ram. But I'm going to go ahead and put the stirrups back into the further back position. And it doesn't say which of these sockets to put it into. It just lets you figure it out yourself. But I think these are like the default sockets, since this is like a technically supposed to be a Kids Core vehicle, and this is a Kids Core figure. So we'll put him back on there. And it's a nice little vehicle. I mean, this set is only like $25, and when you take into account that the He-Man figure by itself, you find them at Walmart on the single card. That's a $10 figure right there, which is already a good deal. So that means this vehicle is only like $15, really, if we're just talking about what we pay for the vehicle itself. If we're already spending $10 on a He-Man figure, then that leaves us with $15 goes to the actual Sky Sled. And I think that's a pretty good deal, personally. But if you're trying to buy like all the figures and all the vehicles, if you want to make sure you have Goatman, then you got to buy the you got to buy the 4-pack. So you already have a He-Man figure. So then if you bought this as well, now you got 2 He-Man figures. And if you're like me and you bought the single carded one mainly just because you like I didn't even really feel like it was necessary for me to have the single carded figure. And I just bought it so I could talk about it on the show mainly. I'm like, well, it's $10 and I could talk about it on the show and compare the differences between this one and the Amazon one. So it's worth me picking it up for that. But if you're just a normal person who doesn't, talk about your action figures on YouTube all the time and isn't just looking for things to talk about, then there's, what are you supposed to do with that? So I guess you could repaint it, use it for customs, make yourself a movie version of Faker, maybe. Make yourself a movie version of Prince Adam, make him like a little soft goods pink shirt and repaint it. If you having a white t-shirt, repaint the legs so it looks like he's wearing jeans, that kind of thing. I might do that. I might. They really should have just made a figure of Adam in his Earth clothes, since it looks like he is going to be wearing them for like a good portion of the movie. Now, from what I heard, and people were very critical of when we heard part of this movie is going to take place on Earth again, started having flashbacks to the 1987 movie, like, oh no, why are they going back to Earth? Nobody liked that in the first movie. From what I understand, they spend maybe about 20 minutes on Earth, and then they're off to, was it 20 minutes or 20% of the movie, and then 80% of the movie is on Eternia. Either way, it's like they're not on Earth for very long, and then they'll be going back to Eternia. And I guess that's the difference there, isn't it? Because, you know, Adam's lived most of his life on Earth by this point, and all he wants to do is go back to Eternia. So instead of being a story about a man from Eternia coming to Earth, like Dolph Lundgren's He-Man came to Earth, it's a story about a man from Earth, really from Eternia, but he grew up on Earth and going from Earth to Eternia. So it's kind of the difference there. Like the John Carter, which is a movie that deserved to do better at the box office. You know, that starts off on Earth. It spends like maybe like 10, 15 minutes there, but then they go to Mars, you know, and He-Man should be kind of like that, right? So anyway, this is a really cool set, and I think it's a good set for the price I paid for it. You know, like I said, it's only like $25. You get a figure, you get a vehicle. If you don't have this He-Man figure yet, like I think this is a perfectly serviceable He-Man figure. Like I said, the armor is like slightly more blue, but I don't think it's like so noticeably blue that I mean, you can compare the blue on the sheath to the sword there. And you can see like when you look at it right next to a pure silver like that, then you can really see it. Al Davis says, I thought that at first too to be totally cheap, but I'm super happy it's like 15 minutes on Earth. See, like that's fine. You know, I don't mind that. If there's a good storytelling reason for them to start it off on Earth, I'm gonna be cool with it. I'm gonna be happy with it. And I don't know, because I haven't seen it yet, obviously. Talk to me about it on Friday, and I'll tell you what I thought about the Earth stuff. But it seems to me like that's something so like general audiences, not folks like you and I. And I'm assuming if you're watching this 43 minutes in almost, that you're as passionate about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as I am, at least close to it. We don't need to have it set on Earth at all. It can just all take place on Eternia and not have any characters from Earth. Well, you need one character from Earth because you need Queen Marlena, right? She's from Earth. We can't not have Queen Marlena in there. Queen Marlena. So yeah, like I figure that's something that's in there for the normies, for people like my mom. You know, so like when my mom goes to see my mom's going to go see the movie with me. I decided to take my mom along and get her out of the house, give her something to do. You know, it's good to get her out of the house. You know, she's been looking for ways to get out of the house. I'm like, hey, you want to go see a movie? There we go. My sister had her volunteer as a poll worker at the election recently. She had a good time doing that. So mom's doing well. Mom's doing well. So, but yeah, I'm going to take her out to see He-Man with me. So that should be fun. So, but yeah, this is a great little set, and it's definitely worth picking up. And I would highly recommend that you do. Even if you're somebody who's not really interested in collecting these kids' core lines, let's say you're somebody who's been watching my Origins unboxing from the beginning. You're somebody like me. You saw that video, and you're like, oh, that sounds awesome. I got to find that figure. You start checking your Walmarts. You find He-Man and Skeletor yourself. You start collecting them. You've been collecting them. You've been with me on this polling office work. Not poll. Well, not poll. No, that'd be awkward. Like she'd be too awkward for that. So, you know, she's working at the poll. You know, she was POLL. You know. So anyway, she's and just so nobody's thinking about this, not talking about like electrical poles. She's not up on the telephone poles or the power lines or anything like that. She's too old for that. That's dangerous work. She's too old for any kind of thing like that. But she was able to work at the polling station. There you go. And she enjoyed doing that. She did fine. So that worked for her. She's probably gonna do that again in the future, I think. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this vehicle. I highly suggest you pick it up. So if I do an episode tomorrow, you can look forward to this. Is gonna, depending on when my next episode is. If it's tomorrow, it's gonna be Chronicles Trapjaw, and that will be my last figure before we see the movie. And so that'll be when you divide it up into two groups. The videos on my channel, like pre Masters of the Universe movie and post Masters of the Universe movie, the dividing line is Trapjaw and Battle Cat. So my post movie review will be Battle, or it might even be this, because I don't know if I'm gonna do an episode tomorrow. We'll see. I'm planning on doing an episode tomorrow, unless I'm just really tired and wind up sleeping all day. But but yeah, if I do the episode tomorrow, it's gonna be Trapjaw. And the episode that I'm planning on doing on Friday, after I've already seen the movie, will be Battle Cat, and that's one where we'll talk about the movie. And I'm probably not going to try to get too spoilery, although I might do a special episode where I talk about the movie and we get into some spoilers. And that can be something that we do in the near future. But anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about He-Man and the Sky Sled. And one thing that would have been really cool is if we had the whole battle ram. I don't even know if they're going to have the battle ram in the movie, because it looks like they just used the Sky Sled. But let's be honest, when we were kids, this was the main part of the toy we played with. This was the most fun part of the toy. But I did like to snap it on to the rest of the battle ram and have that thing roll into action. Oh man, that was such a fun vehicle. I did love my battle ram. So anyway, but that's it for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. All that stuff helps with the algorithm. So if you're watching this in the replay and you made it this far, please leave a comment. I would appreciate it if you leave a comment. I always like to ask a little question of anybody who watched this in the replay all the way through to the end. And ask a question. Hey, if you watch this all the way through to the end of the replay, what do you think about X, Y, or Z? And nobody ever really answers those questions. So if you're watching this at this point, say I will answer this question with this answer or something like. Let me know you made it all the way through the video and you enjoyed it. So that's it for this one. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.